Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing and football selections for Sunday, the 24th of August. Well, we got a few plays, but it's a big losing day on the channel. Um, Comanche Falls and yeah, Comanche Falls and Jordan Electrics both ran very well and both came placed in the big sprint at York. So definitely worth interest in keeping an eye on those horses at Ayr for the Ayr Gold Cup, Silver Cup, and Bronze Cup meeting. I need to look at Jordan Electrics a little bit more because it didn't seem to really. It seemed to be floundering towards the end, whereas Comanche Falls, it looked like the perfect contender for one of the Ayr sprint races. Um, I'm guessing. In fact, to be fair, I don't know. I can't remember what Comanche Falls was actually rated, so I don't know which one it will get in. But to be fair, it's shown its cards now, so I think it's still got an obvious chance. But you're not going to get as so much of a tasty price about it if it goes that route. So let's get on to Sunday's selections. Right, so I've got horse racing and football selections. The football selections will be in the comment and description section below. Um, we've got one leg of the football up. Unfortunately, Birmingham scored relative. Well, I think it was just before half time, but didn't score again. Nobody did. So unfortunately, it was just one goal. So let me get into today's horse racing selections. So I've utilised the extra place races, but then I've added a couple extra to it because I think the too big a price to ignore. So it's a 10 pence each way. Lucky 63. The first selection is Lunario at 16 to 1 in the 150 at Goodwood. Jack Dace is riding out his skin at the moment. This horse, I'm not normally keen on backing 16 to 1 chances when they've won the last two. I think it kind of like says that it's stepping up in class and it's still got like a tall ask. But it's been different leagues since it's made all or been extremely prominent. I've looked at some of its previous races, and it's a horse that always seems to stay on, so it does make sense. Send it straight to the front, catch me if you can, and I'm not going to stop. As in, like, yeah, don't worry, it'll slow down to get tired and whatever, yeah, but it'll gallop right through to the line. Is its gallop quick enough? I don't know, but 16 to 1, first four, it's good enough for me. Next selection is individualism. So I do believe these are the only two races where they are. No, they're not. Individualism is the first race that isn't an extra place race. They're only paying out first two, and it's a tricky race. But they've been messing around with the trip, and all I think is that Joe Fanning could get an easy lead if that's what he decides to do. Joe Fanning ran Beverly from the front is very dangerous. Um, it's the second outsider, so more than likely it's probably not going to come in the first two, maybe not even the first three. But I just think Joe Fanning, I'd kick myself if I didn't include it. It's got mixed form. It's even been running over 7 furlong. So today's trip is 1 mile two. It's got form at Beverly. I just think maybe it's got a bit more tactical speed now with it running over 7 furlongs. So if it gets an easy lead, it may have a better turn of the foot than some of the others. So yeah, it's just an interesting one, and that's the reason why I've taken the prices. The two that I've taken the prices, I think I've even taken a third price, is because I do believe that those horses will shrink in price. Although we're getting towards half 12, you'd have thought it should have settled down by now. The next selection is Zarzini in the 240 at Beverley. Well, this one originally wasn't my selection. I do like it when it's had a quick reappearance. So it ran 3 days ago. That Pair Contra ran 3 days ago, the one that ran well yesterday and should have won, by the way. It drifted from one side of the track to the other and still should have won. Um, I am really liking these selections or these runners where they reappear very quick. It's nothing new, but it just seems to have caught my eye recently. Maybe it's just a summer thing where the sun's out, they've had a recent run, strip a bit fitter, and maybe a bit more in slightly better condition. But don't get me wrong, it's the height of the flat season, so they should all be in pretty much decent shape. I just don't know what it is. Um, I think it just tightens everything up, doesn't it? A recent run. Anyway, we're not going to. Let me just. So Zarzini wasn't my original selection. My original selection was Emerald's Pride, which is the favourite. It also won the race last year. I just don't think there's as much value in that selection as there should be. Although Michael Dodd's team are just beginning to fly. So what I would do is Michael Dodd's, maybe Jim Goldie, although I'm not seeing too much just yet. Jim Goldie, Michael Dodds. I can't. I'd have thought the Easterns might have tailed off a bit by now, but they're still flying. Ruth Carr, Richard Farley, keep an eye on them for what's heading towards. Is it Ayers September meeting, the gold, silver, and bronze cup? Just keep an eye on those trainers because, in my opinion, they're either absolutely flying or just beginning to run into a bit of form. The next selection is Fairdale in the 3:45 at Beverley. So this horse has got absolutely every chance if it if it can do the same as what it did on its debut when it ran to a mark of 7:21. Was it a fluke? I don't know. The next run was abysmal. It was started slowly, but I'm purely going for the reason, the fact that good to firm at Ripon is not every horse's ideal conditions. Ripon, in my opinion, it's a specialist course, and I'm not giving you information that you don't really know too much about. It's like most people know it's a bit of a tricky course. Don't get me wrong, Tim Easterby is the top trainer there, but this horse I don't think potentially handled the track. Never got involved. Should have done because it had every chance to get as well. Every chance on the ratings to get involved last time, but it didn't. So either its very first run of its two runs was a fluke, or its second run was too bad to be true. And if it is, I think it's drawn 8 or 9. If it gets a prominent berth straight away, probably no worse than fourth. I think we've got every chance because as they turn into the straight at Beverley, it starts to hurt a bit. It's the uphill climb. That's where they can run green, run into trouble. And I just think if we're in no worse than fourth position, we've got every chance. But more than likely, they could well be going for the third run and run it down the field. So what do they do? You pays your money, it takes your choice. Whatever, I hate that saying, but yeah. This is probably the most obvious chance in my opinion, and it's Park Street in the 4:20 at Beverley. Course specialist. I think they've. I should have took the prize, but I didn't take the prize. It's about 13-2. It's a competitive race. If they go a good pace, this also got every chance. James Sullivan, I do like the jockey. However, he rode a stinker on one for us yesterday at York. He could have. I'm trying to think which one it was. There was two recently. Um, I can't remember now, but I was really. Oh, I'll tell you what. One of them was at Cartmel, absolutely fuming. So what happened was, it was that Ballylady Boy, whatever it's called, in the green colours. So if you followed me, you'd know exactly because we'd got two in the race. Leopold's Rock, which were prominent, then completely stopped, which it was 20, so it doesn't surprise me. But I don't know, Ballylady Boy. He was sat last on it all the time, and then he got into contention, as in like still last, but only about 6 lengths behind. You could see the camera angle reversed, and you could see them all like bumping along. And we were don't get me wrong, we weren't cantering, but we weren't. It's like he got plenty of horse under him, and we're just waiting for like what? He waited for the last bend, and it didn't pick up, and it's like I was just like, what are you doing? It was for me. It was nailed on to get a place. If it made his move a little bit earlier, even if it meant a little shake of the reins a bit earlier, but it didn't. It literally waited till the 1 furlong straight at Cartmel, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? Anyway, Park Street, it might find a bit of trouble, but it's got James Sullivan on board. I do like it when it's on these hold-up horses, especially at tracks that he's very familiar with. So I do like the look of Park Street. And to be honest, let me just scroll up a bit. Right. So if Lunario, which was the first selection, gets an easy lead, could be very interesting first four. Park Street is my most obvious form chance. Um, don't see how it can't run a place really. Not saying it's definitely going to win, not even close, but if it's a decent pace, it's got every chance. Right, the next selection is Eulalia in the 5+5 at Yarmouth. So this horse, I've taken the price because if it's got a chance, they will back it. It's a Charlie Fellow stable, and I'm sure Basher Watts is probably there with his group. And 3 runs, first time in a handicap now, and I've been looking at it, and it's been running okay in much better rates, but obviously not great because it's only rated something like 53. Um, I just think with it normally racing against better opponents, I just think it might travel a little bit better because all these horses it's up against are 50 rated horses. You're not talking an 88 rated horse or an 88 Racing Post rating horse, which it ran behind last time. I just think Eulalia, given a little bit maybe of a patient ride, maybe covered up, could run into a place, but 13-2, in my opinion, first 4 is too big a price. So as I said, I wish you the very best of luck. The football selections will be in the description below. I wish you the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.